So, hello, John O'Neill here, and today I have with me Mr. Aaron Hamilton, or as some people call him, my little minion. I like to call him Aaron.
Yeah, I love when you call me your minion.
No, but or angry millennial. That's another one he loves.
Yeah.
No.
Snowflake.
So today we're going to show off some of these cool pieces. I think they look really cool, and this is, and just kind of reiterate what Todd was saying. Yeah, the thing about what we're doing with all these wall pieces, I know it's, it's like, hey, come on, we just want to go play the game, we want to blow stuff up, but we really have to make this stuff in parallel with the EK and the campaign. I mean, we just have to do this. We're a small team. We can't dedicate a whole team to go do walls, you go do destruct. It's just, we kind of have to do this in parallel. So all the functionality of the EK, the wall to destruction, has to kind of be the same for the campaign. And I think that was a really smart move on our part to do it that way. So that's just kind of what we're doing. But this is kind of a crazy process. I started it a long time ago, almost 2 years ago. And then Melissa took it over and she kind of iterated on it and improved it. And then now you have had this task. It's, yep. See how happy he is? Yeah. But I have to say, he's done a bang up job. He's done a really good job at making this stuff.
We got a lot of new cool hollow walls set to show off.
So
today.
I kind of broke this off. Just kind of this is the construction states. We have some attachments, some annexes, the castle parts, and then I have some destruction parts that I'm going to show you what the process is we go through. So let's just go ahead and start off with the castle pieces. Yeah. And these are some of the new ones Aaron has made, and I gotta tell you, I love them. They are awesome. We'll start off with this big bad boy. This is one of the new gatehouses, and I think it looks really cool. It's based off one of our older pieces, except instead of it being a solid structure, you went ahead and we cleared it out, and we made this kind of cool.
It's got its own interior now that you can kind of go around. There's some windows right here that you can
some portcullises.
You can see people coming in. If you can
shoot down,
possibly lock them in there and then blast them with arrows.
Yeah, because you can there's thoughts what we're gonna have probably 2 gates, so you could trap people in here and shoot them from the windows right here, the portcullises, and then the little murder holes, which is my favorite term. I just love that, a murder hole. And you can shoot somebody from up inside down below. So that ought to be a lot of fun. And the fact that it's hollowed out now, so you'll be able to attach, other walls. So let's kind of maybe go over here. Sorry, I'm gonna make you guys sick. It's like VR. You'll be able to say these guys right here. So this is a hollow straight wall that you'll be able to attach onto the
so you can basically, all your walls are interconnected and you can just run through without ever having to leave or go on top if you don't want to.
And that was kind of the whole point of this. Like, did we have to make them hollow for you guys? No. But we sat there and we said, okay, what do we have in terms of Lego pieces for all you guys that enjoy doing this stuff? And we said, all right, what can we do that's kind of a bang for our buck that won't be too hard and completely all new, and that we can kind of adjust and revamp, and making everything hollow was kind of, Todd always wanted this. And so that's what Aaron went and did. He made these cool hollow pieces and ramps that go up.
You can show them the octagon tower too.
Yeah.
I don't think we showed them.
So we now have, what's up?
Does it make it easier to knock down?
So that's all still based on the rule sets of the magic barrier and then how much life is on the wall. That doesn't really change, but you just get more choices to make these really cool looking pieces. Now, how this is going to function is, in the EK, you can design these all out, and we'll show you how snapping together and how cool they look, and that's up to you. That's the beauty of this system, is in the EK, you go to build to your heart's content. You can intermix hollow pieces, fort pieces, octagon pieces, but in the campaign, we'll be designing out the keeps and the castles and how they look, and then you'll just be, with the hippos, and you'll just be adding in the material. But yeah, and so that's, and then you've got like diagonal pieces that, and we have all different sizes too. We have our 3x, we have little 1x, we have 2x, we have archways now, which will look really cool. doorways, slant pieces, corner pieces, and you can kind of see how, you know, that goes into a corner. This is a stair that goes up. And when we get to the keep in the scene, you'll get to see where a lot of these pieces, what they look like when we put them together. But
oh yeah, show them the towers.
yeah.
Maybe snap something on there.
Oh yeah. So here,
yeah, explain how you use the buttresses to cap them as well.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, the assumption would be that you've got big gaping holes to the outside world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can show that or not, but.
So yeah, we can drag in some buttresses.
So this is not how, you know, this is within Unity, so we have a different snapping program, but in the actual Unity, when you go into the EK tool mode, it will work similar to this, just not quite as, so this is
And there will be free building in the campaigns later on, correct?
Not all of them.
Not all. It depends on the rule set.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on the rule set.
That's
So-
what they're asking.
So the dregs will most likely, so yeah, let's
That's
just,
the plan. Unless there's some horrible technical reason it won't work, that's been my plan all along.
Okay.
your evil plan,
It is an evil plan.
Wahaha.
just snap. See some of these, there we go. And I'm just, and this, you'll be able to do the same thing. I'm just kind of just snapping them together, and you can kind of see how, I know doing it in Unity isn't always fun, but right there, I just made a complete hollow tunnel out of 3 pieces. And it's as simple as that. And depending on your attachment, these are our smart connectors. So, for example, this tower, when you bring it in, it won't have any of these little pieces right here. There's always a delay, so it always throws me off.
Yeah.
But when you snap it to a wall, it then will smart snap and appear. So that's going to be really cool. You can get your nice octagon towers and whatnot.
Somebody asked if they can teleport through those archer windows.
Through the windows? No.
The answer is no.
You will not be able to do that.
Those windows were very precisely
Yeah.
engineered to not allow characters to get through them.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can stand in them and fire through them.
Yes, we wanted to give you the ability to shoot through them, but not to warp through them or, you know, even jump through them. It was specifically designed so that that you would be allowed to do that.
Somebody
But not
asked what
break it.
happens when you're inside one if it gets hit by a trebuchet.
You are most likely going to take a lot of damage.
It is so cool looking though.
Or die. Which is, everyone makes fun of me of that video from the very beginning, but that was something I've always wanted. I can't wait till something falls on you.
Can you show them is there the
Oh yeah.
description?
Actually,
show
that's
'em.
that's what we'll do now.
Okay.
So now that we've, these are some of the castle pieces, and then they, you know, same thing with the fort pieces. Aaron was able to take the 4 pieces I made and converted them all into destruction pieces and snappable. And you can kind of see how we set this up. These little spheres represent where they'll snap to each other. And then we also have other spheres that represent the annexes and attachables. So think of banners, shields, spikes, heads on spikes, that kind of cool stuff. And so yeah, those are some of the fort pieces. And then I'll get to destruction in a second. These are some of the attachables. So you'll be able to attach some banners, some of these cool little
there's the
buttresses.
Yeah.
You've seen some of those before, little merlins, some little raised areas on top of the towers. And we're gonna have so many of this type of stuff. Again, the spikes, the heads on spikes, shields, all kinds of neat stuff. We've got a whole list of things coming down the pipeline. And then these are some of the building states. This is a fort, or no, I'm sorry, this is the lodge. So when you roll up on a lodge, you'll see it like this. And as you add in materials and resources, it'll start to build up, and then until you get to the actual finished
state. Yeah.
finished state. So I just thought some of these would look really cool. So this is the keep. This is one of the states of the keep.
There's questions about in the current campaign world, there was a bug where the gates were not open or were not closed on the fort.
Yeah,
That's
they're
been fixed
closed.
today.
Yeah, they're fixed. I know it's you know, the way production and design and development works. It's crazy because you have stuff, you'll have a build that's then put to the side because it's in a workable condition. That's what you guys usually see. By the time we've already fixed that, we're weeks down the road, but it hasn't caught up yet. So a lot of times when you'll run into bugs, we've already fixed them, but we just haven't put them into you know, a stable enough build.
This one wasn't
This one was not fixed. I know.
This one wasn't. I had to go bug Jonathan today and say, please get that fixed. So, because it required us, we had to go
And get that old tech.
Well, the problem was the fort walls were otherwise not destructible. Like, there was no siege weapons near them.
Yeah.
There was no way to tear them down. And we were afraid that people would be able to basically turtle up in a fort and be they'd have a completely safe place to retreat to.
You wouldn't be able to get in.
And nobody could get in and nobody could take it. So, it should be fixed now.
So yeah, these are some of the wall pieces. You can see the different states, and I thought they look really cool. Again, this is Aaron was working on these stuff. I know it feels like minimal tasks, but they're actually really important, and they look really cool. These are the different states of the houses. So you have the manor, you have the villa, and then the cottage. And so everything in the game is going to have a state. So you won't like you just plop it down and it's there, unless it's your EKs and stuff. But in the campaigns, you'll roll up on a lot of this stuff in various states, which I think is really cool. So, all right, well, let's jump on over to the destruction.
So I have a quick question
Sure,
for you.
yeah.
In regards to siege equipment placed on top of walls and towers, do they automatically break if the wall underneath them is destroyed?
Yes, absolutely. Good question. All right, so I'm going to show you a variation of destruction that we have going on here. This is an example of the brick destruction. So we have two kinds of states of destruction. We have what we call our brick destruction, where we actually have cut up each individual brick.
Yep.
And then we have something called BSP, or Todd, as you like to call it, FSB.
Yeah, FSB. I like that better. It's a better acronym.
It's more of an organic cut up of stuff. And here, this one's already been done. Aaron has already set this one up. And I can show you over here under our fracture tool. So right now you see that it's all whole, and this shows you how many pieces this thing's gonna break up into. And it's a lot of pieces. And I mean, it basically, but I mean, it doesn't break up like that, clearly. It will break up more organically. But that's how many pieces that particular wall is in. So for this one, we just wanted to show you real quick what our steps are when we want to do destruction. And this is a very simple wall, mind you. This is as easy as it comes. As they get more intricate with these kind of guys and the ones that have the interiors, there's a whole lot of new stuff that you have to contend with. And if you can quickly break down what you had to deal with when making this one.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like making sure the textures are lined up correctly so that Andy's tool will cut the bricks correctly. I don't really know how it works, but it works, so.
And well, and also, I mean, when it comes to destruction with our wall pieces, everyone just thinks that, hey, put it in there, press a button, done. At least that's what Todd thinks. And that's just not the way it works.
Should be. Whose fault is that?
With something like this, it is that easy. When it's a simple box and you don't really have to contend with other pieces jammed into each other, it's perfect. It works great, and we love it. But when you get some pieces like those hallways that are, hollowed out, and they have those wooden, beams that are kind of slightly interpenetrating the other sides of the walls, that causes issues, big issues. So then we have to figure out, okay, what do we want to blow up? What do we want to just kind of disappear? And then what do we have to, there's childs of those, basically the roots of each one, and it gets crazy. But today we're just going to show you something very simple, and I just used this texture because it feels like this would break more organically. And
question for you?
Yeah.
How many construction states do we have? The assets?
Right now we have 3. And there's talks that we might add one more if we felt like it needed, but I think that's going to come down to what we feel is needed. I think 3 is perfectly fine if you ask me. We always liked the idea that it was a little bit, Age of Empires. We used to see these things building up, and that's kind of the idea.
Plus destruction. So
Plus destruction. Yeah,
destruction is
that's not counting destruction.
Yeah, because it's not a pre-built state. It's actually just however the thing is exploded.
Yeah. All right, so here is the model, and I've added the fractured script that we have. And I'm not going to bore you guys and go through each one of these things because there's a lot to go through, but I'll basically go down the line and show you the more important things, which is how many chunks we want this to break up. And so, for example, we want this, let's just say we want this to break up into 400 pieces. We'll add that. And we have the ability to change up the variation of the sizes of each one of those chunks, so we can kind of randomize it a little bit. And so we'll just kind of slightly pull these to the left and right, and then just kind of maybe a little bit like that. And there again, I'm not going to go too in depth and all that stuff. And now let's just compute these chunks. So it will ask me to hide that. That's fine. Ironically, this is the one where you just press a button, Todd, and it works, but it's normally not like that. All right, so now that that's done, we can preview this, and we can see, yeah, and I'll turn off these colored markers. And I don't have an interior texture, so we could also add that. So let's just quickly go to environment. Let's get some textures going.
Are the current build times representative, or will it be slowed down in the actual campaign?
It'll be slowed down.
It'd be very, yeah.
And the amount of building materials required is going to go up dramatically.
Let's
We're
just
testing them.
quickly add a trim. We don't need to get crazy with this. Sorry.
What is the building next to the Fort Lodge, the big flat wooden one? Oh, I think that's the construction state for the guild hall, isn't it? Do you have that in there?
Yes, yes I do. Yes,
I don't know if they've seen the guild hall either.
I don't
can
know
show
if they
that.
have.
Oh.
That's probably why he's asking.
That's yeah, absolutely. Sorry, this is why
And there's actually going to end up being a handful of different variants on the guild hall, right? You just have the basic one in?
Yeah, we have the standard right now.
Anyway, go back to it. You're in the middle of something.
I just wanted to get this pink off.
You got to recompute it.
Yeah. Yeah, start firing away. Aaron's also going to ask some questions or answer some questions.
If you guys got questions, I can.
So yeah, that's just wanted to get the pink off. But now you can kind of see where, and this isn't just a click the button, it's done. So when we're doing these, this one might say, you know what, this looks pretty good. But then other times we might say, you know what, we don't really like the way it's broken up. So we'll start, moving the sliders around and getting more of the look that we like. So it's each and every one of these, it's hand touched. It's not a simple process, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. But the outcome is just so cool. I just love the way this is looking. Our destruction is looking phenomenal. I'm very proud of it.
So will we see like piles of rubble on the ground?
You will see certain, like we have a percentage of each wall piece that when you destroy the wall, there is a percentage of those pieces that stay on there. I mean,
The reason they're asking is right now, Andy set all those to just everything basically melts as soon as it hits the ground.
Yeah.
He just cranked up the knob for performance reasons.
Yeah.
We're going to play with that knob. The knob is still there. It's just a choice.
What Todd said. I mean, this is, let's be honest, we want this all to run. So if you had 4 or 5 walls exploding and, rubble everywhere, I think we've danced around the idea of maybe 10% of a wall might be laying around, or it just depends. But we have knobs to change that based off maybe performance.
Here's a question. How will destruction work with the different building states?
Well, we haven't quite 100% worked that out, but I think what was the idea is that if it's in a particular state and you destroy it, it just goes back down to the original state.
It varies based on whether there's a tree of life there or not, right? So if there's a tree of life, then everything is protected until you start a siege. And then the siege rules, this is off the top of my head, but hopefully I'll get it right. So the siege, can they hear me?
Yeah, that's the way. Can you hear Todd?
Okay.
You probably at least
Here, I'll
stand
come
over
around.
there and yell.
I think they can hear you.
Okay, so if it's got a tree of life on it, the tree of life is going to offer protection to all of the structures, including the ones in construction state, until the siege starts. Once the siege starts, if those things are destroyed, then they're going to basically wipe all the way back to a foundation. If a building is there and the building is destroyed, we check at the end of the siege in the cleanup phase. There's basically a phase where the game goes through and cleans everything up to put it back into a state, an in-between siege state. And it reverts to the nearest based on how much damage was done to the wall. So it could result in it being all the way back to foundation. It could result in the wall being in a halfway state, or if it's close enough to max, it just basically heals it back up to max. And I think we have control over that. Right now we have it set to be like, if it's destroyed more than 50%, then it goes back to foundation. If it's 50 to 100%, it goes to 50%. or 50 to 90%, it goes to 50%. I think it's like, I think 85 or 90, something like that percent, it just heals it back to full. In the non-tree of life situation, I'm just in the middle of building something, or it's already built, and somebody comes up and puts it to the torch, it just gets burned. That's why you want a tree of life. So
I feel like that's also one of those other knobs that we'll have to play with and
yeah,
figure
it
out.
will. How much do we clean up versus not?
Yeah.
Right now, that's not a knob that's exposed on a campaign by campaign basis. It's just something that we've preset for all campaigns. But it is something we could do if we wanted to make campaigns more or less destructive, right? If we wanted to make campaigns more or less grueling in terms of being able to kick over people's castles.
Okay.
So I was going to show you guys. I guess no one's seen the guild hall yet. So we first came up with the design for the lodge, and you know that's this bad boy. We liked it, and then we said, you know what, we got to go bigger. Bigger is better.
Yeah.
And this is the guild hall, and it's obviously there's nothing in there right now. It's not even lit. There's no lights, but it's pretty awesome when it's all lit. You've actually probably seen this in the video. It was in there was the fly through where the little Ganetian was presenting. Was it the sword? And that was the guild hall where you had all those cool statues lined up. I love it. I think it looks really cool.
A red rug.
The red rug, yeah. And this will just be something else you'll be able to furnish and prop out and.
And we're doing variants of that building as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have some awesome concepts that Dave did a long time ago, and I'm not talking about just texture swapping. They're fully different buildings. They have like different tops. Like I think the Ranger one has this cool tree canopy that's going to be over on top of it. And I mean, they'll have the general shape will be kind of the same, but each one has something that's really unique and different to it.
There's a couple of like stained glass.
Yeah.
And some other cool stuff.
And it looks really cool.
Towers.
Like we'll have to split those up because I want to make some of that stuff. It's really cool. All right. Well, look, we'll keep filming some more questions. I say we jump in and
saw another one up here somewhere.
show this out.
Are you guys working on destruction for housing?
Housing.
So, housing very well may end up with just a destroyed state that is more like these construction states for these buildings, as opposed to them being literally blown into pieces. Housing, because it has decorations inside, because it has props inside, it becomes a little bit more complicated, because for performance reasons, we were going to use the doors and windows as a way of blocking your line of sight so that you can't see the decorations until you enter the building. If we blow a wall out, then all of a sudden the interior of that building is now exposed to the exterior, and that creates some complications. So one of the things we talked about was just having simple destruction states, because then we could still continue to keep it mostly intact, and more importantly, we could include all the stuff inside. So that one's still a little bit open. It's not terribly hard for us to just take an asset and tell it to blow up. If we don't care about breaking along brick lines, if we just take it and say, all right, just smash this into chunks. So we certainly could do it. I've got some other things that make me a little nervous about it. That's not a priority. It is a priority to light them on fire, though. So we have to, those and all the wood palisades and even the wood tops of the otherwise stone buildings, we need to have all those things go up in flames. Shadowbane, that was one of the things that I thought was the coolest about the game, was when you hit a building at certain points in the health bar, it would light on fire, and the fire would eventually get to where it was a raging inferno, and that building really was going up. I mean, it was 2003 level graphics, so don't let me oversell it. It was still kind of crappy, but at the time, it was pretty damn cool. So, I want to go back and get buildings in this game to light on fire. It's just a thing we haven't gotten to.
So we got a guy asking, can you speak about the new chest models we have seen in 5.2.1, and will they be active for use?
Oh, player chests?
Yeah. The banks and the chests are both coming online. We'll do an update to explain how the banking works. Basically, we ended up with I'll give you a preview on it, with mostly local bank solutions. So first of all, Spirit Bank is no longer going to be what people have used it for, which was they were using it really as a way to stash items quickly and withdraw items. Because it's now going to have limited import and export, it no longer serves that purpose. Because every time you take something out of the world, put it in there and take it back and then bring it back in, you'd be chewing up import and export counters, and that's not going to work. So instead, we have local banks that are going to be located in the forts and keeps, where if you put something in there and then you lose access to that fort or keep, you have to get back in there to get it. And then what we'll do is have a tow truck service of some type where if you have an absolute fallback that you simply cannot get your things, you can fall back to that position and you can pray to the gods to get that stuff back, but it's going to take a big decay hit on the way, and it'll take time. So what we're trying to do is we need some mechanisms to allow for fallback positions. Otherwise the games get slippery slope, causes the campaigns to get really boring. But we don't want to make it easy, and we don't want to shortcut any of the needs for caravanning. So that's why we went with local bank solution instead of world bank solution. So.
Okay.
I realized last time I did this, I was going.
By the way, I'm sorry. There's a whole bunch to that, so that's why I said there's going to be an update. We'll make an update for Tuesday, Thursday coming soon, where we go through. Here's the full design on how banking works within and containers work within the first run campaigns.
Yeah, oh, and also probably within, I would say, easily the next month or so, we'll have the actual environment update. So you've seen the videos and all that stuff. You might be wondering, well, where's some of those cool assets? We have not updated those yet in the campaign, but it's coming. It's like right around the corner. But anyways, I realized last time I was showing an environment off, I was running so fast because I'm in developer mode, so I can speed my guy up like hundreds of miles an hour, and it was coming across like it was,
a slideshow?
yeah, like a frame rate. So I'm gonna go real slow this time and make sure that everybody, that I'm not making anybody sick. But so this
You
is.
don't seem like you're going that slow, to be honest.
You want me to go slower?
You seem like you're going pretty fast.
I can change that.
I'm just saying.
All right, let's bring his speed down to. I'll change it down to 3, and we'll see. It's better.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So this is the keep that's going to be one of the keeps that's going to be in the campaign, and you can kind of see already how these pieces will work together. This is that gatehouse where you can kind of see inside with the portcullises, and we have lanterns now.
Most of them have never seen that, so explore a little.
I will. I definitely will. I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. There's the keep itself, and here are some of the cool pieces that you'll be able to attach and create yourself in your EKs. And the dregs. The dregs. The dregs are so scary to me. I just can't imagine what that's going to be like. Pew, 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 pew. So you'll be able to shoot through. And I just think this is so cool, being able to come through here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And this, Todd, this is what you always wanted. I kind of balked at Todd for a while, thinking this would be too expensive. But no, just the idea of having these all hollowed out, but it really does look better and gives.
So we have had a request to expand those murder holes a little bit, so you can target through
Yeah.
easier. It's probably not a bad idea.
So I talked. It's funny. I just talked to Melissa about this morning. We would actually like to widen it just a little bit and make it the length of where you see that third port. Basically, from here all the way down would be an opening, and that way you could actually use it. So I mean, this is just the first iteration. Don't worry, you did good, son. You did good.
Somebody asked the question
Thanks, Dad.
if these pieces are going to be included in bundles, and the answer is some of them will, and some of them will continue to. We'll still have the old pieces that are thicker. What we'll probably, in game terms, do is that the old wall segments, because they're thick and they don't have the inner tunnel, they'll be stronger and more defensible. That way, it's a choice. And so, what we'll do in the old packages is we'll mix some of the new pieces in and some of the old pieces in, and we'll have all sorts of. We haven't done any add-on packs where it's like, hey, I just want some additional towers that are not as expensive as having to buy this giant bundle. So we're also going to come up with some add-on packs to let people buy onesie-twosie pieces.
By the way, I'm using a different camera, so our actual camera is a little bit further back. So if you're wondering why it feels I'm short, is because the camera is further back. But yeah, so this is the inside of a connecting hallway to
You
a.
can shoot into the windows.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can also
Oh,
shoot
yeah.
through the windows, so that is that's a danger.
Are we eventually going to be having merchant buildings that players can sell things through?
Yeah, we just haven't gotten there yet. It's on the list.
And this is the new keep. We have a whole new top for the Tree of Life. We'll go inside there and show off. We kind of redid the interior of the keep and made it a lot more accessible. And yeah, you can kind of see the idea of what a merchant might look like, where you could just put up a tent or an armor cart and start selling stuff.
I think the current idea is to install all the sockets for the crafting stations inside, most of them inside the house,
Yeah.
and the vendor pavilions outside the houses. But we'll see how that plays out. We haven't built them yet, and we may find that that's too limiting.
I'm going to go back up there because I thought that was really cool.
I guess we never mentioned the annex pieces either.
Yeah,
How
well
those
here,
work.
let's talk about it.
You
So
know-
he's going to talk about the annex pieces, and really, what is an annex piece, Mr. A.A. Ron?
Okay, so if you look over here at these archways, these are what we call annex pieces, which socket onto the sides of the walls, so you can then make a kind of like a series of little ramps and bridges on the inside of your
Walkways
walls.
and-
Yeah, walkways, so you can get around your castle easier. And there's corner pieces and junctions and ramps, and they all socket to each other, and then you can socket back into the wall and make some really cool little designs that and they're more narrow than the wall pieces too, so it gives it a little bit of
And I mean, this didn't take very long at all. I mean, we put this together relatively quick, and that's the beauty of the system. And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about early on, where building this system so that it works in parallel with EK and campaign was an absolute must. We had to do it this way.
yeah.
And so when you see stuff in campaigns, you will be able to build that exact same layout in your own EK if it's something you like.
And you can build your own switchbacks now, like down to the ground with the new annex
Yeah.
pieces.
Oh, did
So-
you talk about ladders yet?
Nope.
All right, so
Meters is it from the high one to the ground?
meters. Ooh, all right. So our scales are always a joy to try to figure out because, like in games, the average size of the wall pieces, like the actual wall pieces from the ground, that's about 15 meters.
Oh, they're as much your frame rate too, John, in this mode. You might want to remind him you're in dev mode.
I'm in dev mode. I'm still getting 70 FPS, but I am in dev mode, which makes it even slower. So I have a pretty beefy machine. So when I'm actually playing the game, I probably get around 80 to 75. But I do have a nice video card. Thank you, Gordon. Gordon loves me so much.
During the construction stage of a building, is it possible for an assaulting player to take ownership of that building if they kill the person who placed the building down? Example, assaulting player kills original builder and then remains on the premises for a set period of time.
No, not really.
No.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Not right now.
So we have destruction states, so you can rip it back down to the base, and we might even allow you to rip it all the way down to where there's nothing there. But we don't have a claim mechanic outside of sieging and capturing, the capture mechanic
Okay.
right now.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily opposed to it though. I need to think about it some though. What would be the situation? Would I have to strip it all the way down to the foundation and then I could claim it? We certainly don't want it to be free because otherwise it'll just be stuff changing hands constantly, and that doesn't seem as interesting.
So this is the keep we've updated it. We updated a lot of the textures and a lot of the ceilings and trims. You can see new trims here. And then Aaron helped me deck out the sides, so they're now more functional.
These are the crafting stations.
Yeah, these are
that they're not online yet, but
This is
eventually
the blacksmith.
That's the blacksmith. Yep.
And then we have over here, I think this is the stonemason.
That's the stonemasons.
Yeah, I like this one. This one looks
I
cool.
threw a different one in each corner of the keep.
Just gonna run over.
Can you guys talk about repairing a little bit and how that's going to work in terms of can you repair during a siege or?
Repair, you mean the walls?
Yes.
Or, okay, yeah.
Well, explain hippos in general first for the
Yes.
people that have never seen one. Can you explain how that works?
So a hippo is basically a base of, you saw those construction states. So the very first construction state is what we call a hippo. So when you roll up on a campaign, you'll see the layout of the keep's already done. We pre-lay these out. You won't just roll up on a full keep. We have ideas where it'll be in various stages, where there might be parts of the wall on the left side that's fully done, and then parts of it are half done, and then the rest you kind of have to build. Again, that'll be a fun little knob to play with that will decide what that looks like. But So when you roll up and there's a hippo, you just go up to it and you just add you F to interact, and then you add the resources that it takes to get to each level. And so yeah, you should be able to repair the walls if they get in somewhat of it. I think if it's fully destroyed.
After the siege, certainly.
Yes.
During the siege, is still we haven't decided.
Oh
So,
yeah, all right. During the
so
siege.
The challenge that we've got is, and we saw this during Siege Perilous. Let me move a little closer to the mic.
Yeah, let me go over here.
It already the onus of the work seems to be on the attacker, right? The defender has a giant benefit, which is that they're holed up in a castle, and the attacker has to get into that castle and actually get to the tree before they can destroy it. Whereas the attacker just kind of runs outside and goes and kills everything, right? So we were constantly kind of fighting that in the course of Siege Perilous. I think we did a pretty good job of balancing it out. But my fear is if you now give the defenders a repair mechanic, it's going to exacerbate that problem, where it makes the game even more slanted towards the defender. So we certainly can do it. The question is, do we want to do it? And I just don't know. So what I'd like to do is now get Siege working again in the current campaigns, let people play it some, see where we're at, and if it makes sense to do it, we'll do it.
Any chance we will get some less developed pieces like a cave or trenches or archer stakes? How about furniture for outside like barrels, totems, shrines, or heads on pikes?
Yes, all that will be, those will be attachables and slottable items that you, so right now, this is a perfect example. This is a buttress that we have that covers up the holes in this octagon tower. You'll be able to slot that in yourself. You'll be able to have different types. You'll be able to, you know.
So what you're standing on right now is technically an attachable,
yeah,
right?
this is an attachable.
Archer's balcony is not normally part of the wall. It's
No,
been attached.
it's been attached. And, you know, I'm looking down at the wall right now. You can imagine in between these two windows that there's a banner hanging, or there's a giant spear with a head on it, or, you know, these are the kind of things that you'll be able to attach to your walls and even outside. Although we still haven't finalized on how much you'll be able to do. Everything's all still deciding as we go.
Here's a good question. How are you guys dealing with irregular terrain? Is something being done about it, or are we just able to build in plain terrain?
That's a good question, and you're actually looking at that right now. And I'm going to jump over here just to show you, and then we'll go at the top of there and show you the Tree of Life and that. So this is an example of how and why we built the walls the way we did. So there is actually a whole nother part of that wall that's below this terrain that you don't even see. And that allows us to, let me see if I actually have a spot. Ironically, this might be on a very, well, you can kind of see it coming down there. But you'll be able to build on pretty uneven terrain. All right, these guys right here. So technically the top of where that point, I guess the point is right here. I guess you can't see. I'm going to take the arrow. This right here is the level ground. But because we started to build off of this, it gave us enough room to actually build up. And you'll be able to do that with the walls. It's funny, we don't have a spot. Yeah, you can kind of see it right here. A little bit.
I think this parcel is pretty flat.
Pretty flat.
So
It's terraced. And most of the building parcels, especially the larger they get, right, I have those terraces built into them on purpose,
maybe
with the
down there,
expectation that people are going to want to build castles there.
Yeah, let me go out here and see if there's not a better example. I feel like there is. Yeah, that's a good example. So you can clearly see that that goes out further than what initially was the way it started, I guess you could say.
There's just a whole section of wall that gives you a little leeway when you're on a hill, so you can definitely build down in the sides.
I mean, what would you say? It's about 10 meters, right? It's a 10-meter kind of.
The foundation?
Yeah, the foundations.
Yeah, it's pretty large. We actually, there's
Floating
more
man.
foundation and we let them go up or down, right?
Yeah.
So there's a window of how much you're allowed to raise and lower your pieces.
We quickly figured out, quickly found out that when we didn't have the foundations, we were like, oh Lord, I mean, everything's gonna have to be super flat, which we didn't want. So we decided to add this foundation system. And so every wall piece has a foundation system. And yeah, it's worked out quite well for us.
Singarin is asking about the spooky tree.
Oh, oh yeah, the spooky tree, that's right.
Over on that side.
Spooky tree.
So this is the campaign. So each one of these areas is the Bane tree. So I guess that not everyone's familiar with how this is going to work.
Some people run around with some
So the way the sieging mechanic's going to work is the attackers, they have to destroy that tree of life. I'll go in there and show you what that is to take over this keep and this whole parcel. And the defenders either have to run out the clock and defend that tree, or they can come out here and kill this Bane tree, which it kind of already looks dead, I realize, but kill it even more. And there's 3 of those. You can see one way over there, and there's another one over there somewhere. And so if you destroy all 3 Bane trees, then you will have successfully defended the keep. But let's go back in and look at the Tree of Life, because that's going to be where a lot of the action is. And we purposely redesigned the top of the keep to allow for this. Hey Max, what's going on?
I was trying to be discreet, but hi, how's it going?
Max is whispering. I like to whisper too.
It's very secret, producer only stuff.
We love this guy. So this is the top of the keep now. Before this was all enclosed. Actually, the original Siege Perilous, we didn't have this whole top part. We just had this big open space for the tree. It was kind of boring, so we decided to add this top back on and then just open it up. And now you have your Tree of Life up here. And this is what the attackers are trying to destroy. They're trying to destroy this, and you're trying to defend it. And I think this is going to create a lot of cool gameplay up here, because you'll be able to knock each other off. And yeah. So it's going to come down to, do you want to send out forces to attack the Bane trees, or do you want to defend up, turtle up, defend the Tree of Life? Or, you know, whatever. It's up to you. Any more questions? Because I think we're almost done.
You got about 10 minutes.
Ooh.
So one question was about crenellations, what you called Merlins, right?
God damn it, Dave. I look at him and I just laugh. Sorry.
Sneaking around back there.
So somebody was asking about crenellations. So I think that the idea of how the attachables works didn't quite come across.
Yeah, you're right. We don't have a whole lot on this one. We need to add those back on. Hey, quiet, will you please, Mr. Greco? So this is an example of, these were all Merlins that are attached. They've been attached, and you will have these slots that you can either put a Merlin here, a buttress, which is that thing you saw that stuck out. You could put a banner flag here. You could put, you know, whatever items we allow you to slot in, you'll be able to do that. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Hoardings also, right? We just haven't gotten to those yet.
Yeah, we just haven't got to those.
Here's can I build buildings on top of people and entomb them in the walls?
Please don't.
That would be pretty badass. But I'm assuming the guy's gonna have to be AFK for like ever, and then you just start building on top of him. I mean,
right now you just pop out on top
Yeah.
of the walls.
I'm sure you guys will find ways to break everything that we do.
Yeah. Why do attackers want to destroy the Tree of Life? Is it a win condition?
Yes, killing the Tree of Life is the only way you siege this castle. I mean, I'm sorry, the only way that you win this keep or castle. So once you break through the walls, you've sieged through, you have to kill this Tree of Life. I mean, this is kind of the whole point. And then the defenders, they have 2 ways of winning, and that is killing the Bane trees or defending this for a set period of time.
With the new focus on races,
What the hell is
in
that?
terms of
I don't know. I think they're playing basketball upstairs.
with the new focus of race in terms of skills and classes, does this make the possibility of seeing racial architecture like we had in SB more likely?
Yeah, good question. I mean, so the first, I mean, look, we're a small team, we're a small art team, we're a small everything studio. So we wanted to get the first race out, and right now this is the human kind of look, and we want it to be kind of rough and you know, guttural, so to say, and just so to say.
So to say.
And we want it to not look pristine in any way.
Yeah.
So we've already got concepts that Dave's have worked on for everything from the Stoneborn to the elves to even the centaurs. And I can't wait to eventually get to that. But we got to get done with this first. This is what we're going to launch with.
A lot of these are Todd questions, I feel like. design question. Are current building speeds representative or sped up for testing? They're sped up.
Yeah. Well, if there's any questions for Todd, now's the time.
Yeah.
Because we're about almost done here. So if anybody's got...
Will crafting furniture be tied to the skill tree, or will everyone have access to all recipes? Will a woodworker be able to make a more fancy dining table than a swordsmith?
Yes, we are going to move recipe unlocks into the skill tree. We just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. The crafters, I really like how deep our crafting system is in this game. I think if you're a crafter, this is going to be one of the games to play for that because it is so in-depth and offers so much variety.
Will attackers be able to build stuff as well during a siege?
Yes, the siege equipment has to be built. It has to be invested in beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
And in the dregs, then they'll be able to build stuff as well.
And that's what these...
Effectively, there's a siege set of siege tokens that they use to build their stuff.
I forgot to explain, like this right here is for a siege weapon. This is for the ballista.
Yep.
And when you're defending, there'll be catapults and trebuchets out there, and it's going to be a chess game of where you want to turtle up or defend from and how much you want to send your resources to depending on what side they're attacking. And that's the beauty of destruction. You'll be able to attack from any side, and it's going to be tough for defending, you know. And a lot of these games, there's only one way to get in or two ways to get in. It's usually from a gate, and that's all you have to do is just defend that gate. And it gets very repetitive very quickly. With this system, the whole idea is you don't know where it's coming from, you know. And once they set up shop, you know, you try to defend that, they could change tactics mid-match, and you'd have to then try to compete against that. So I love that aspect.
Will crafting disciplines be as numerous as the combat disciplines?
As numerous? Probably not. I doubt that they'll just... my guess is there will not be as many. Will we try and have a really nice spread? Absolutely. So I say that, I don't know, but historically, if you kind of look at it from an investment of resources standpoint, there's just a lot more to the combat system, which means there's a lot more interesting and easy ways to tie off new things into it.
Give me a hug. I need a hug.
That said, I'm not going to purposefully not come up with as many. I'm just kind of predicting the future, and I'm imagining that there won't be as many, but I'd love to be wrong on that, you know. All right.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Are you guys good? We loved it. It was fun. Did you have fun? This is your first time doing this, isn't it?
Yeah, it was all right.
Everything's always fucking all right.
It's all right.
Doesn't matter what you... yeah, it's good. It's all right.
It's okay.
It was
love
okay.
It was good, yeah.
All right, take it back.
All right, bye.